Conor McGregor, master of destruction. No one has a chance. This motherfucker, he gets everybody. There's an argument that he's the GOAT. There's an argument that Mighty Mouse is the greatest expression of martial arts in the history of combat sports. I would make that argument.
Yeah.
In his prime, he's the greatest expression.
Slamming guys into arm bars and that crazy shit.
Elite athletes, and he's a ghost. He's standing right in front of him. He's tagging him, and he's a ghost. His footwork is
his
magical.
last fight where he won the belt back, that knockout was insane.
And
he
it was a
followed
repeat
him
of what the guy did to him.
Yeah, the way he timed it as he's following him into the cage. It's just like insane shit that guy does.
Masterful. And he's in his, like, what is he, 36? How old is Mighty Mouse? Let's find out how old Mighty Mouse is. Because for the 125-pound division, to be competing at a very high level in a natural athlete in his 30s, he's 36? Yes. Recall.
There you go.
They say marijuana kills your recall. That's bullshit. It confuses a little. It's a little cloudy sometimes.
How do you know Mighty Mouse was 36 then?
That guy, when he was in his prime, like when he beat Cejudo the first time, when he stopped him in the first round, he was the ultimate expression.
I forgot about that. They kneed him to the body, right?
Oh, my God.
Beat him up. That's right. And it was real close. The Cejudo second fight was very close.
Dude, I went behind Mighty Mouse once when he was behind backstage at the UFC, and I just grabbed him to hug him, just to play. He's my friend. I go to hug him, and he turns and just to fuck with me, hits me in the body, touches me, the most gentle touch with two knees so fast that I couldn't believe they actually moved that quickly. It was just he went, just did that to me. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, he is an unreal talent.
Dude.
Unreal.
When he's got an argument Cejudo with those knees to the body. I remember watching that going, I don't think I've ever seen anybody land a knee to the body more precisely.
It's a shame that he
magic.
The Cejudo, it's a shame that he left the UFC when he did and didn't get like the third fight with Cejudo, a rubber match there, I think would have been so huge. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he never got the fight that had like that type of height behind him.
I believe you're correct.
It was just like kind of like hardcore fans knew. Like they were like, yo, this guy's like unbelievable. Like he's the best. But I think he just didn't quite have the moment. There was also talk of him moving up and fighting TJ Dillashaw. I think there was like a contractual dispute or something like that. Didn't happen. But it's a shame that he didn't get one of those like huge moments. Because even when he beat Cejudo the first time, he wasn't like that big of a name yet.
Right.
Like people didn't know like who that was. Whereas like by the third fight, it would have been like a huge thing, you know? And then GSP also is in the conversation.
100%.
He's got to have an argument.
Yeah, he's in the conversation for sure. The dominance of the welterweight division.
And the fact that he beat everyone he ever faced and came back and won the middleweight title after a leave. That's hard to not. That's hard to not consider him there.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, I mean, especially how brilliantly he handled it. He just like beat Bisping and said, "I'm done."
I do think
the belt.
All of this is kind of subjective, like you said. It's like, what do you like? But I would say that for me, John Jones has the strongest argument because he dominated multiple generations of fighters. Like he dominated the Shogun Rampage Machida generation of fighters. Then he dominated what was it?
Gustafsson.
The Gustafsson, Cormier.
The first fight's the most impressive because he didn't train for it.
Yeah.
That's just the most impressive thing is that John Jones pulls out the first fight in the later rounds. He wins the decision by dominating the later rounds in a fight that he didn't train.
And we had never seen him in a dogfight before at that point. You were like, sometimes there are these guys. I remember thinking the same thing with Israel Adesanya when he fought Kelvin Gastelum, whereas all we had seen from him was just like dominating everybody.
Yeah.
And so there's kind of a question mark a little bit with that where you don't know, some people like when the going gets tough kind of like look for a way out. And I remember, if you remember in that fight in the fourth round, Kelvin fucked him up in that fourth round. He really hurt him and he was busted up. And you remember before the fifth round starts is that he looks at him and he's like, I'm prepared to die for this.
He said
and then he went out and dominated the fifth round and you were like, oh, okay. This dude's special. He's not just like a talent that can dominate people, but he's also like a real fighter.
He's so special that he chose to fight Pereira for the fourth time after getting knocked out.
And he was getting fucked up in that fight too.
He was getting fucked up. His leg was getting fucked up.
His leg was getting chewed up, and he was cornered, and he was taking
talking
a blitz.
about it after the fight. He was like, not again. He's getting me again. Because he was getting him again with the same goddamn thing. That guy is so clever. Here he goes. He says, I'm prepared to die. I have no problem. I'm prepared to die.
And look how fucked up he was really beat up, man.
I'm prepared to. He said, I'm prepared to die. I'm prepared to. Holy shit.
Dude,
Holy shit, dude.
I did like at the end of it though, not knocking him, just singing his praises. He's the greatest. But at the end of the fight, he's like, "That's it." He goes, "We're not fighting again." He goes, "I don't keep score. I end score or whatever." You're like, I get where you're coming from on that one. You're like,
Jesus
because
Christ.
you should really move up. You should move up and go fight
move
a
up to 205, fella. Get the fuck out of here.
It's just it's pretty funny to be 3-1 and go, I think we've all seen enough of this.
Well, I don't think he's 3-1. I think he won the first fight.
Oh,
The
yeah, that's
first
right. It was a
kickboxing
bad
fight. It was a bad decision,
Well, look,
I believe.
you can say this.
And he got saved in the second kickboxing fight. Adesanya had him on skates.
Right.
He was in real trouble.
And he was
they gave him
winning.
a standing 8 count,
Right.
which is huge. Especially you look at the first round of the first MMA fight.
And he
He drops him in the end of the first round. Now imagine if
Or
he dropped him.
He rocked him. I don't know if he actually
rocked
fell.
him. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know if his hand touched the ground. I think he just rocked him. You're right. But he rocks him in a very similar manner to when he finishes him off in the second fight.
Right.
Imagine if that had taken place and the referee had stood in and gave him a standing 8 count. Pereira is a monster. He recovers quickly.
Yep.
Like he can get cracked, and there's some speculation that some of that has to do with the fact that he's cutting so much weight. Michael Bisping, I believe it was there was a few other fighters. I think it was Sugar Sean O'Malley. We're talking about this insane weight cut that this guy makes to get down to 185 pounds, and the fact that that could affect his ability to absorb punishment. Very possibly. But imagine a scenario where he gets rocked like that, but then you give him 8 whole seconds to recover, and the referee's doing it like 1, 2, 3. Like they don't want him to lose, right? And so they give him this little ability to recover, and he survives, and then he winds up winning and knocking out Adesanya in this spectacular fashion. Hits him with this monster left hook. But that's the thing about that guy. That's what's so terrifying about fighting him. And that's why Izzy's so special. That he's like, I can figure this motherfucker out.
Well, you also got to look at